Hey guys, how's it going? I just want to pop in here real quick. I want to share some thoughts that I had while I was watching the YouTube channel Give Me an Answer. And I love that guy, very thoughtful and insightful statements. And really what he's doing, not only is he preaching the gospel, but he's getting college kids. He's an instructor there. I think it's here in Austin, Texas. What he's doing is he's getting them to stop and think, and to think critically, but critically the right way, not from a place of criticism. So I wanted to share some thoughts with you on what I had listening to him. And it may be a very great way to introduce somebody to the subject of the gospel and the whole argument we have against evidence. So if a man says there's a chicken crossing the road, and you look and you see no chicken crossing the road, but he insists it's happening, you write him off as crazy and dismiss him. Just move on about your day. But if there's 500 people standing there saying there's a chicken crossing the road, and you look and you see no chicken, do you just automatically call them crazy and dismiss them? Or do you now stop and think, maybe there's something here? What am I not seeing? Now, somebody may come along and deny. Whatever. If there's nothing there, what are they denying? Now, if somebody is going to accept there's something going on here, what are they accepting? Obviously, something's happening. Otherwise, 500 people wouldn't be standing there saying the same thing, pointing to the same spot. Obviously, there's something going on here. We just got to discover what that is. So we can't deny based on a lack of evidence. We must deny based on evidence. And if there's a denial of something. If we're going to accept, we must accept based on evidence. We can't accept based on no evidence. You don't accept the sky is blue, you can look up and see it's blue. You don't accept that the universe had a beginning, we can prove the universe had a beginning. Scientists have been coming out about this a lot. Now, you can have evidence, and that evidence can be circumstantial or quite specific to whatever's going on to prove the point. You'll need that evidence to either accept or deny, because you can't deny nothing. There has to be evidence that there's something there in order for you to deny it. So when people come along and they say there is no rapture, okay, cool. Why are you denying there's a rapture? It doesn't exist. Well, that's not true. Otherwise, you wouldn't be denying it, because in order for you to deny it, there has to be something there. Well, it's an idea. Great. Everything starts with an idea. So now you need to decide why you are denying this. And you can ask them, why do you deny that? What evidence have you seen to cause you to deny this? And walk them through the process. Because it may show them exactly why they're doing what they're doing, and it may cause them to change their mind. They may realize it's all me. There really is evidence. I just don't want it to be true. Jesus appeared to 500 people. Oh, you can't believe all that stuff. Really? Yeah, there's no eyewitnesses of it. There's 500 at least. We see that mentioned in the Bible. We have letters from multiple people declaring it. We have people before he was ever existed on this earth, before he was ever born as a man, declaring it. You can't sit there and say it's not real and deny it. There has to be something there to deny in the first place. Atheists, you'd be surprised. And you would be surprised when you tell an atheist this at their reaction. There is no God. Well, there must be. You're denying him. If this isn't true, what's the problem? Why are you denying it? Well, I just think you guys are causing a lot of problems, and y'all need to have your mind changed because it's incorrect. Okay, well, where'd you get the idea that it's incorrect from? Where did you get your sense of morality from? Because you didn't get it from denying everything. You got it from accepting that's what right and wrong is. You accepted something based on evidence. But if you think that's the truth, if you think your idea is right, why don't you go to all these other religions out here and tell them they're wrong too? You never do that. You only go after the Christians. Obviously, there's something here. For you to specifically hyper-focus on denying the Christian God, there's something there for you to deny. You can't make the statement, it doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. None of this is real. Otherwise, there would be nothing for you to deny. And let's go back to the chicken. One man says there's a chicken crossing the road. Yeah, whatever, buddy. 500 people are standing there saying there's a chicken crossing the road. Okay, why are so many people seeing this? Something's up. If one person says it and you can see with your own eyes there's not one there, you can dismiss that. But you're denying it, you're dismissing it based on evidence. There's a person there declaring there's a chicken crossing the road. It's not that there's nothing there. Something's going on. It all starts with the idea, but you're denying something. 500 people come along. You still deny it. You're denying something. You're denying evidence. Because if 500 people are standing there telling you there's a chicken crossing the road and you look and see no chicken, something's wrong. Something's happening. Something's going on. And you're either going to accept or deny it based on that evidence. 500 people said, I saw the risen Lord. Over 500 technically. Obviously, you can't sit there and say Jesus never existed if we have eyewitness accounts of it. That many eyewitness accounts of it. Maybe you didn't physically see it, but these people believe what they're looking at. So to deny it is to deny the evidence that it was real. To accept it is to accept the evidence presented that it was real. You can't just deny God and deny Jesus Christ without there being something there. And you can't use the illegitimate excuse of, oh, none of that's real, it doesn't exist. Then why are you denying it? In order for you to deny it, there must be something there to deny in the first place. Otherwise, what's the purpose of denying it? If you accept it, there must be something there for you to accept. You can't accept something that doesn't exist, that isn't real. Or you can try, but what is it you're accepting? And it goes all the way back to the idea. Everything starts with an idea. I have an idea of this. Now I'm going to go find evidence of it. So you walk up to that one guy, and he has this idea in his head that there's a chicken crossing the road. You can't see it. You dismiss the idea and move on. There was still the idea there. Even if the chicken didn't exist, there was still the idea there. When you see 500 people doing the same thing and you dismiss it, you're dismissing an idea, a very strong, very potent idea, because it's affecting 500 people. If you accept it, it's the same reasoning. So the evidence exists. You can't sit there and deny there is no evidence. It exists. It's there. And when I find people that and I apply this to the scripture, when I have to find people that deny the Bible is properly translated, I'm like, why would you deny it if it's not real? Why would you deny it if it's illegitimate? Why would you fight so vehemently against this if there was nothing there in the first place? See, the reason why you're denying it and fighting against it is because there is something there. And it terrifies you. That's why you're fighting against it. There is evidence. And it's very important evidence. Because if it was just the fact that the book wasn't properly translated, there are millions of books that have been written that are improperly translated. And you can go and have a field day denying them. But it's only the Bible they deny. Why? Well, there's not one person sitting there telling you this Bible is true. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people telling you this Bible is true. Nay, I say millions. So, is it a denial based on a lack of evidence? Oh no, it's a denial based on evidence. Quite strong evidence if it causes a denial in the first place. Now that applies to famous sayings, famous phrases we have in society. Everybody thinks it's a joke, but there's actually some thought behind this. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Whether somebody's there or not is irrelevant. We know it makes a sound. We can prove it makes a sound. So you don't have to be there for something to be real. Because I've had people over the years tell me, well, I would need to be there to see it, to believe it. You don't need to be there for it to be true. It's still true. Still happened that way. Were you there when the Titanic sank? Nope, but you know it's true. Well, we have evidence of that. Really? So now you're going to use the evidence market because because we have evidence of Jesus. We have evidence of everything that happened. See, now they're forced to acknowledge that they just don't want it to be true. But there is evidence. You can't deny there's evidence. Otherwise, you dismiss your denial and why you're in denial. Now it comes back and it lays on you and in your lap. And you have to admit you deny because there's evidence. You don't deny something because there's no evidence. You deny it because there is evidence. You deny it because there's something there. Otherwise, why would so many people believe it? If one man came and said, I saw Jesus Christ, one and only one, and we only had one writing from that man, would anybody believe? No, they'd write him off as crazy. But how many people do we have? Millions of people over history. Eyewitness accounts, personal interactions. So the denial isn't based on it not being true. The denial is based on it is true. And there's enough to it to cause people to violently respond negatively to this. If it wasn't true and it wasn't real, why would the response be so violent? What it proves is that it is true. Their denial proves that it is true. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, no one was there to see it. Actually, there were two people there. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? And people will say, well, it had to be the egg. Well, who laid the egg? Well, somebody had to have created the egg. Oh, but wait, I thought we just popped out of nowhere. So you're telling me now, through evolution, the egg just formed and became a chicken. While the one next to it became an alligator, and the other one next to it became a turtle. Well, no. Okay, so evidently there was a chicken there to lay the egg so that it would hatch as a chicken, correct? Well, that would be the normal thing to think. Exactly. So if the chicken came first, where did the chicken come from? Well, dinosaurs and the... But we can't prove that. So we have skeleton dinosaurs with feathers. That's a dinosaur with feathers. It's not a chicken. Where's the crossover? Where's everything in between? Where's all the mutations that come in between? They don't exist. But we know there's something there. But we know there's something there. In order to deny it, you must deny the evidence. In order to accept it, you must accept the evidence. There's evidence for everything. So when they bring this argument, you can't trust the word of God. It's been improperly translated. Okay, well, that would indicate to me that there is a proper translation out there if you think it's improperly translated. You're basing it off the proper translation. Well, no. We just know that it's improperly translated. So you're just accepting something that you don't know whether it's true or not true. Don't you need evidence to accept it? So where's the proper translation? That you are able to compare the two to make an educated decision on whether you want to believe or deny this. Well, exactly. You're not doing it by that. You're not going by the evidence. You brought up your own idea and decided to believe it and desperately want other people to believe it. You're the one person saying there's a chicken in the road and there's no chicken in the road. You're crazy. Dismissed. Not even going to listen to you. Bring 500 people. And then we can take a look at the evidence. We have that. We have tons of people. Now we have to go and check out the evidence. Evidently, there's something here. What's here? A presupposed idea that the Bible is improperly translated. Let's dig deeper. Oh, look, we actually find evidence that it's not. We actually find evidence that it is perfectly translated. In fact, better than what any previous translation that was attempted was done. And funny enough, the very first one was done by one single individual. Everybody lauds King James for doing it with 50, 70... however many people he had, 100-something people. The very first Bible put together, assembled, was done by one man from the original writings. We have the original writings all the way back to the very person. Well, how do we know those original writings were properly done? Well, if you have somebody on one continent writes down the exact same story as a person on another continent, and they've never met each other or been introduced to each other, and they are thousands of miles away, something's there. Something's there. If you have two books that span or separated by 4,500 years of history, and these two books match each other and support each other and back each other, there's something there. That's not by accident. That's not by happenstance. It's not by chance. That was purposeful. So is there a chicken crossing the road? The one person says yes. We don't see any evidence or very much evidence, but we do deny the idea. But then we come by the next day and there's 500 people there. Okay, now there's more evidence. Now we need to pay more attention. We have 500 eyewitnesses to a chicken crossing the road that we can't see. What's wrong here? We need to check something. Are we the ones with the problem, or are they? So before you immediately dismiss the Bible, and I'm speaking to all those people out there that are watching that do that, dismiss the Bible as illegitimate. Before you do that, ask yourself, why do I think the Bible is improperly translated? Why do I think, if I'm an unbeliever, why do I think Jesus wasn't real? Is it based on no evidence? Because if I'm denying no evidence, that's an oxymoron. That's a contradiction. I must be denying something, some kind of evidence. Otherwise, there would be nothing to deny. We would accept that the evidence shows that he was not real, that the Bible has been improperly translated. But we deny. And when you deny, that means you're denying something. They're denying the evidence that it is true. You can't just say, no, I deny that, and not have any evidence to support your denial. Just like you can't say, I believe that, and not have any evidence to say you believe that. Now, you can just choose to deny and choose to believe and just expect everybody to accept that, but they're just going to keep walking past you when you're telling them there's a chicken in the road. But if you have 500 people standing there seeing the same thing you're seeing, then you've got something to work with. Because then the people who are denying some form of evidence that there is a chicken crossing that road, even if they can't see it. Otherwise, why would they deny it? You can't come up and say, oh no, I deny it. There's 500 of us. There's one of you that says there isn't. The 500 outweigh the one. If the one is trying to convince the 500, you have a different story. So what we have to do is not just go to a snap, knee-jerk decision about these things. We have to sit down and actually do the digging. I'm not talking about going and saying, show me verses that prove that there's a pre-trib rapture. No, I'm not going to do that for you. Yeah, that's because you can't. No, it's because I won't. Because you have already made a decision based on zero evidence. Denying something, you say there is no evidence that it exists. How can you deny it if there's no evidence it's real? I deny there is a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. What evidence am I using to base that denial on? Because there's a song about it, there's a cartoon with it in there, several of them, and there's a video. And there's an album cover. I used to own that album with his picture on there. Evidently there's something there. Otherwise, there wouldn't be evidence that somebody with an idea believed it. Now, we know it's not true. But I'm making a point. The point is, you can't sit there and say it, there is no such thing, when we know there is such thing. Somebody came up with the idea, and there's evidence of it. So you can sit there and say, oh, that's inconsequential. Well, okay, well, that's your choice to do that. But the fact that you're saying that's inconsequential means there's something there for you to say that's inconsequential of. You can't just sit there and speak to the air and say, no, it doesn't exist. What doesn't exist? This particular thing. Okay, well, why do you say that thing doesn't exist? Have you ever seen it? No. Have you ever heard it? No. Have you ever seen anybody or heard anybody else talk about it or mention it? Pictures? Books? Nothing? No. Then why would you deny something that has no evidence it exists? That's contradictory. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's a problem we have going on today. Here's the amazing thing about this. The deniers do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result and never get it. Those of us that accept it don't expect a different result, but end up getting it. Who's the insane ones? The ones that deny are the ones that are insane. They keep expecting it to change and it never does. It always proves true. They keep denying the new evidence. They keep denying the fresh ideas. They keep denying the statements and the people that come up, expecting a different result, and it never comes. It's always the same result. Proved. They don't ever get the different result. We do. We grow in knowledge. We grow in Christ because we accepted that something was there. Is the chicken crossing the road? Don't know. I don't see it, but 500 other people do. So I'm going to accept that there's some evidence, something's happening here, and I'm going to see if I can prove it. Before I try to deny it, I need to prove whether or not it's legitimate. Prove whether or not there's something there to deny in the first place. So when you say the Bible is improperly translated based on what somebody else told you in a video telling you what to think, which to me is an extremely childish idea. Why would you let somebody else tell you what to think? You decide. So many people say this book is true. I need to find out why they say this book is true. So as an adult, a thinking adult, I'm going to go and I'm going to do the research and find out what's going on. I turned around and looked at the 500 people, and I saw they all had the same pair of glasses on. I found me a pair of glasses and put them on, and there was a chicken crossing the road. Once I learned to see through the eyes of those who have seen, I can see what they see. The deniers don't want to see. It's not that there's no evidence. They don't want to see. Because those of us who saw everybody talking about Jesus Christ, saw the stories and read them, understood there's something here. Even if I am 2,000 years away from the event and more, depending on what part of the Bible you're reading, you could be 5,000 years away from the event. Even though I'm millennia away from the event, I did not have personal eyewitness account of this event, of these things that happened. And I'm looking at all these things. Now I need to go find the glasses and put the glasses on. What are the glasses? The Bible. And not only do we have the glasses, but we also have the evidence of the person who made the glasses. So while the rest of the world can't see it, we look through the glasses and we see it clearly. Or as the Bible says, we see in a mirror darkly. We see through the glasses clearly. We see there's something here. There's something going on here. And it's important. So there is evidence. And we made the choice to believe it. I don't have enough evidence to say it's not true. However, I do have a whole bunch of evidence to say it is. So the deniers know that it's true. They have seen the evidence. They choose to deny the evidence based on evidence. You can't deny there's no evidence. You must base it on something. People running around out there believing that the ocean levels are rising. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? I can't deny or accept what they say until I prove it. I proved it. Actually, the ocean levels have been going down quite a bit. So I deny their claim based on evidence. I couldn't just say it was untrue without saying, okay, well, there's evidence there. I had to either accept or deny based on whatever evidence I could find. So I found the evidence and I deny it. I deny that based on something, not nothing. So when somebody says, none of that's true, but you're denying it, yeah, because it's not true. But evidently there's something there. Otherwise you would have nothing to deny. It all starts with the idea. So I just wanted to throw that out there. When you start to contemplate these things, and it may not make sense to a lot of people, when you start to contemplate these things, you start to realize everything we're being told in greater or lesser part is a lie or it's some form of fabrication, but it's always based on something. Because, like the saying goes, every lie starts in a truth. It's always based on something. There's something going on there. We've just got to dig a little deeper and find out the truth about it. Be a thinking person. Be a Berean. Don't just believe what somebody tells you. Prove it. And I've had this conversation with people. Well, you can just believe me. No, you're going to have to prove it to me. I'm going to need to see some proof. That way I can make an educated decision on whether I'm going to accept or deny what you're saying. And I can tell you this, over the years, there's been a whole lot of lack of evidence, or a whole lot of evidence proving the other way from what the world says is their knowledge. And in reality, we find quite different. The evidence shows the real truth. And so when we do that, we accept that evidence. So denial or acceptance isn't based on a lack of evidence. It's based on evidence. For you to accept something, there must be some kind of evidence there to cause you to accept it. For you to deny it, there must be some kind of evidence there to cause you to deny it. You can't just deny it, nothing. It's not real, didn't exist. Then why do you deny it? If it's no big deal, if it's fake, like I've asked atheists this, if it's no big deal, if it's all fake, if it's nothing, why do you fight so intently against it? Because it seems to me if you fight so intently against it, there must be something there. Otherwise, you'd have nothing to fight for or against. Something to consider. Something to think about. And the next time you get into a discussion with somebody, that may be some great talking points to point out. See you on the next one.